Before we get into today's video, I'd like to take a moment to personally thank Crystal Sorey, the mother of Harmony Montgomery, the innocent child that we'll be discussing today. Crystal reached out to me a few weeks ago on TikTok regarding her daughter's tragic story, one that me and many others around the country are very familiar with. She came to me and asked me to make this video so that we can help draw more awareness to the crippling problems within the child welfare agencies across the country, which is exactly what this channel has always been about. I can't imagine how hard it must be to make such a request, especially given the fact that all of this news is still pretty fresh and something that's still ongoing. A trial hasn't even occurred yet. This case is ongoing as we speak. She's still very much trying to cope with this loss and fighting every day for her daughter's name. This month marks 3 years since little Harmony went missing and this nightmare began. Now there's a reason I chose to make this video when I did, although I could have done it weeks ago. This time of year was Harmony's favorite time of year, especially Christmas. And not because of all the presents that kids would normally get, but because it was Jesus' birthday. Going forward, I only ask for respect in the comments for Harmony and her loved ones. So today, our story takes us out of New York City and over to Massachusetts.
New developments today in a missing girl mystery in New Hampshire. We are getting an exclusive look inside the house where 7-year-old Harmony Montgomery lived before she vanished 2 years ago.
Dozens of investigators combing through a New Hampshire apartment where Harmony Montgomery used to live, and they're taking out several pieces of evidence.
Harmony disappeared in 2019 when she was 5 years old. Her father and stepmother have been charged in connection with the case.
If I can't speak for her, who else is going to? You know? Look what happened for 2 years because I wasn't her voice, or I couldn't be, or nobody could hear me.
Harmony Montgomery was born on June 7th of 2014 in Newburyport, Massachusetts. She was born to her mother, a woman named Crystal Sorey, and a man by the name of Adam Montgomery. 32-year-old Crystal was born in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Her and Adam would meet through a mutual friend in June of 2012. At the start of their relationship, things between Crystal and Adam were great. As Crystal started to get to know Adam, she would become enamored with his charm, good looks, and his way with words. They were very attracted to one another, and he was very protective of Crystal. The relationship was very passionate, and the two would grow to love each other, and things became even more serious. But among all the good things going on between Crystal and Adam, there were some truly dark moments, things that made this relationship much harder to navigate. Around the time that Crystal and Adam met, Crystal had began using opiates, and there was a lot of drug use between the couple. There were other things that posed an issue for them as well. Adam had a long criminal past going back as far as a young teen. He was adopted by his grandmother when he was about 5 years old, this being because his mother never wanted him. She would give him up when she was about 3 years old. His father was in prison for a majority of his childhood, and as Adam got older, his behaviors worsened over time. He had his first hit of crack at around 12 years old, and the drugs were supplied by his own father and uncle. As time went on, now with a history of drug use, the self-destructive behavior would continue. In 2006, at the age of 16, he was charged with possession of a dangerous weapon on school grounds. The following year, he was charged after making various threats to his 15-year-old girlfriend and sentenced to 110 days in jail. Years later, Montgomery was charged with shooting a man in the head in Havermill, Massachusetts. For this, he was sentenced to 18 months in prison, and the prison stints never stopped. When it came to drugs, violence, and a life of crime, Adam Montgomery was no stranger to the court system. It seems that his actions would become increasingly more unpredictable, becoming violent with Crystal, hitting and strangling her throughout the relationship. But while Adam was in and out of prison, something beautiful grew from all of this. In October of 2013, Crystal would become pregnant, the baby girl that she welcomed to the world. She would name her Harmony. Harmony was described by her mother and loved ones as a very intelligent little girl and the light in every room. She was able to communicate and talk clearly at just 2 years old. She was full of energy, funny, and sassy. She was a very honest child who had dreams of one day having a beautiful wedding and becoming a singer. Harmony and her mother had a beautiful relationship, and they were very close. She was attached to her mother. Crystal would always go above and beyond for her little girl. Sometime later, as Crystal struggled to shake her opioid addiction, she would lose custody of little Harmony, and she would end up spending time in foster care. Harmony remained close to her mother and would also become very close with her foster mother, whom Crystal considered family. since she was so good to her little girl. Losing Harmony felt like the end of the world to Crystal, who loved her daughter very much. This moment in time was a major dose of reality for her, because she knew that she had serious problems, but she was determined to shake them and get clean for her baby girl. Crystal made a promise to Harmony that she would get things in order and shake her habits, and that's exactly what she started to do. She never missed a visit with her, never missed a birthday, and she knew she made a promise, one she had every intention of keeping and seeing through. But for reasons still unclear to the family and all of those involved, Adam Montgomery was granted custody of little Harmony once again, despite his volatile and violent past. His long and violent record meant absolutely nothing to them. They left her in his hands, and less than a year later, it would prove to be a grave mistake. At this point, Crystal was doing anything and everything she could, from filing numerous DCYF reports to going to the cops. But due to her not having custody of Harmony, and because of her past with drug use, they wouldn't listen to her. It seemed like once they had a certain image of her, they wouldn't let her be the mother that she wanted to be to her daughter, or at the very least, they didn't care to give her the chance. On one occasion, Crystal recalls the last time she saw Harmony in person. Adam left the room for a few moments and Harmony said something that made her mother's heart sink. She would tell Crystal that her mouth was hurting and said it was because of her teeth. Crystal's reply was, "Why? Because they fell out?" And Harmony's response was, "They're supposed to fall out, mommy?" Crystal immediately began to cry hysterically, coming to grips with the fact that Harmony's own father might have been abusing her daughter and apparently might have knocked her teeth out, because this didn't come off like a little girl just curious about why and if teeth were supposed to fall out. That same day, as Adam drove Crystal to where she had met for her visit earlier on, she would question Adam on what was happening to her little girl. He would respond by saying that Harmony was his daughter whom he had sole custody of, so she needed to shut her mouth and not say anything further, or he wouldn't let her see her daughter again, leaving Crystal in a very, very hard position. This would result in Crystal walking on eggshells most times at first, hoping to avoid making Adam upset, since she felt strongly that he would harm her daughter out of spite. She felt in her heart that Harmony wasn't in good hands. Her one and only concern was keeping her daughter safe. Soon after, Crystal got a new job and told Adam she had training for a week, so they had an agreement to have Harmony and her speak via FaceTime, just until things were sorted with Crystal's new work schedule. While on a FaceTime call, Adam would keep muting the call and could be seen in the video instructing Harmony on what to say. Crystal was asking the questions any mother would want to ask. Things like if she'd been making friends, how her siblings were, if she began going to school and if she liked it. Crystal noticed Adam interfering and would begin questioning him, asking why he was coaching her daughter on how to respond. Again, he would make more threats and tell Crystal she had no right to say anything to him. The last time Crystal ever saw Harmony was in a FaceTime video, 2 or 3 days before Easter of 2019. She said her daughter looked terrified on top of being coached. He would end the FaceTime call, and right after, he blocked her phone number and blocked her across all social media, severing all ties between Crystal and Harmony. Crystal tried calling from different numbers, calling private, creating new Facebook profiles that weren't yet blocked by Adam. She purchased a subscription with white pages to try and track down any numbers linked to him, but to no avail. She even reached out to Adam's wife, a woman named Kayla. She also blocked Crystal. Adam also blocked his own family members whom Crystal would often speak to, so now she had no way of knowing about some of the things going on in the home. This is when Crystal was certain that something bad was happening. She could feel it. She called DCYF over and over and over, but her cries went ignored. It's also believed that part of this was due to Adam having a personal relationship with someone at DCYF, someone connected to Adam since he was young. A huge conflict of interest that was pointed out several times and also ignored. Crystal was told that since Adam had custody, she couldn't report Harmony as a runaway. She had to report this as child endangerment. This is when Crystal contacted the New Hampshire mayor in hopes of finally getting some sort of attention on Harmony's case. Since to this point, it had gone mostly ignored. Harmony went missing between November and December of 2019. Adam went to great lengths to block anyone from his own family or Crystal's who dared to question anything about Harmony. Kevin recalls how one time he visited the home where Adam and Harmony resided before her disappearance, and Harmony had a black eye, the type you'd see a boxer get in a match. Adam would say that he, quote, bashed Harmony around the house, openly admitting to abusing her.
She's special, and we just want her home, and she is loved.
Montgomery feels DCYF did little to protect his niece. He previously reported abuse to them, telling police about an incident in July 2019 when he noticed Harmony with a black eye. In a December 30th interview with police, Kevin told investigators Adam told him he caused the injury, saying at the time Adam told him, quote, "I bashed her around this house." Kevin also told police about a time he recalled Harmony, quote, being forced to stand in the corner for hours, and Adam ordering Harmony to scrub the toilet with her toothbrush.
Family and Children's Services, they failed her from the beginning. I don't get it. I mean, the evidence was so much.
Time kept passing, and at this point, little Harmony hadn't been seen for more than a year. Crystal remained hopeful, but could feel in her heart that something terrible had happened. She spent a lot of time telling her therapist about what this overall situation was doing to her mental well-being. She felt like she was doing everything she could and was just being ignored. On one hand, she thought Adam was simply doing his best to put her through hell and keep her away from her daughter. On the other, she felt in her heart that Harmony had suffered a terrible fate. Crystal would finally get the attention she needed, and all eyes were finally on Harmony's case after so long of her pleading. And shortly after, Crystal heard a knock at her door. They were detectives from Manchester Police's juvenile unit. They were officially actively investigating Harmony's case. By the time detectives even got to Harmony's case, Crystal had stacked up pages upon pages of evidence from her end that supported the fact that Adam Montgomery was actively avoiding her. She knew from the very start that something was wrong. She carried out her own investigation and even formed her own search parties with the help of friends and family. She did everything she could to keep Harmony's name in the news and in the papers, organizing event after event with hopes of gaining new information, going door to door passing out flyers and putting up posters, anything that would help give them answers. On June 3rd of 2022, Kayla Montgomery was arrested on perjury charges since she lied about knowing where Harmony was back during the time frame she was last seen. Whatever she told investigators when interviewed would prompt the former home of Adam and Kayla Montgomery on Union Street to be thoroughly searched. After this apparent break in the case, investigators would spend the entire day combing through what could be clues in little Harmony's disappearance. A refrigerator could be seen being taken out of the home, labeled biohazard. It was seen that they were getting much closer to finding out what truly happened. But what most didn't know was that when Kayla was arrested, she also revealed truly devastating news. She told investigators that Adam had beaten Harmony to death with his bare hands years ago, punching her repeatedly in the face and head until she stopped moving and she drew her last breath. He would then transport her body wherever he went. She said Harmony was killed on December 7th of 2019. If she knew all of this, chances are she had the ability to get Harmony help. Crystal was told the very next day. She was told that they now knew without a doubt that little Harmony was killed. Everything else went silent, and now Crystal was faced with a new reality, and her battle wasn't even over yet. Trying her best to cope with the tragic news, more and more information would begin to pour out. While searches of their old home in New Hampshire earlier in January of 2022 turned up with nothing, this Union Street home was an entirely different story, and disturbing evidence was about to be discovered. When they searched Adam Montgomery's Chrysler truck, they found Harmony's blood, a vehicle that he initially told people had died, but in reality, he sold the transmission, trying to get rid of the car. More of Harmony's blood was found at the Union Street home Adam and Kayla shared with her. It's believed that a lot of the blood might have been found in the makeshift crawl space Montgomery built for Harmony, a space she was forced to live in. Thinking back and placing certain times and events together, Crystal recalls a time where Adam lived in Manchester, New Hampshire, and she had visitations. This was around Thanksgiving of 2019. Adam and Kayla lost their home, and so they went to stay with Kayla's mother, except Kayla's mother didn't want Adam there. Adam then took Harmony and stood in the car with her. Adam originally told detectives that he took Harmony back to live with her mother, and that this was the last time him or Kayla saw her, doing his best to make his daughter's disappearance look like Crystal's fault. On January 8th of 2020, he even told a DCYF worker that Harmony was with Crystal and hadn't been seen since Thanksgiving of 2019. On January 21st of 2020, a voicemail was left for Crystal to confirm Harmony's address, but they say the call was never returned. Crystal strongly believes that Harmony was brutally killed in that car, which adds up. Adam then possibly drove around with her body from place to place, transporting her around, before getting arrested yet again for unrelated charges. On November 8th of 2021, after many failed attempts at contacting her daughter, many DCYF reports, and after living in constant fear of Adam taking his anger out on their daughter, Crystal made a call to Manchester police stating that she hadn't seen her daughter since Easter of 2019 and was being kept from her. On December 27th of 2021, DCYF notified Manchester police that they couldn't find Harmony anywhere. On December 31st of 2021, Manchester police would find Adam Montgomery living in his car with his new girlfriend. He was uncooperative and refused to give any information on where Harmony was. This was also the first day an announcement was ever made about a search for Harmony, 2 years after she was last seen. In early January, both Kayla and Adam Montgomery were arrested. Adam for interference with custody and endangering the welfare of a child, and Kayla for theft and welfare fraud after collecting benefits during November of 2019 and June of 2021, when she listed Harmony as a family member. Meanwhile, Harmony was nowhere to be found. As more evidence piled up and more timelines were confirmed, authorities were now certain of what they had on their hands, and on August 11th of 2022, Attorney General John Formella announced that the investigation into the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery was now a homicide investigation. On October 24th of 2022, Adam Montgomery was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in the death of Harmony Montgomery. Until this day, he won't tell anyone where Harmony's remains are. Right now, the investigation into the short life of Harmony Montgomery continues. Every single day is a struggle for Crystal and her family, who have worked tirelessly the last few years to get eyes on this case. Crystal has long gotten rid of her addictions, has worked steadily, and recently has her brand new home, where she resides with her young son Josiah. Crystal's other son Jameson currently lives with his adoptive parents, but still remains close to Crystal. She intends on always keeping her promise to her daughter and further reuniting her family. I've shown you quote-unquote mothers like Denise Solero who helped get rid of her daughter and never reported her missing. I've shown you the mother of Angelica Castillo, who went 23 years without saying a word about her daughter's disappearance, even when she was told her daughter was killed. This was not the case in this story. Crystal was fearful of how her speaking up could be used to hurt her daughter and make her situation worse, but she never stood quiet. She spoke up every chance she could, and there are plenty of others who can say the same and saw it with their own eyes. A mother's cries were truly ignored. While Adam was the one guilty of carrying out the heinous act, this was equally the fault of child services in Massachusetts, those who consider themselves well suited for their jobs, yet took a young child and handed her over to a murderer. Someone with a rap sheet so long that you wouldn't even be able to get a minimum wage job, but for whatever reason, the life of a young kid is perfectly fine for him to be responsible for. Calls were made from different sources, family spoke up, and altogether, a total of 39 abuse and neglect reports were made, and they were all ignored until it was far too late. Rest in peace to Harmony Montgomery, and my deepest condolences go out to her mother Crystal and her loved ones.
Hi Harmony, it's Mommy. If you can see me or hear me, I want to tell you, I'm so sorry for everything. You deserve the best life that God has to offer, but He had bigger plans for you. I love you so much, baby. I'm never gonna stop fighting for justice for you and to make changes, because I know that's what you would want. Mommy loves you so much, and I miss you every minute. You keep watching over us, okay?